Welcome to another episode of the Engineering Influence podcast by the American Council of Engineering Companies. My name is Shreya, and I'm the Marketing Communications Coordinator, and I'm so pleased to have here with me Adam Lowenthal, who is the co-founder and CEO at Aldoa. Welcome, Adam.
Thank you very much for having me. Excited to be here.
So we're going to be talking about a new age for technology in engineering and consulting world. And, talking about that landscape of technology, what do you think the landscape has looked like in the last 20 years, and where do you think it's headed?
Yeah, I think that this is a topic that, sort of everyone has their eyes on right now with all of the talks of AI and everything new coming out to the market. And, you look at some industries and before you get to even AI, there's a standard of technology that isn't even met yet from the past 10 years being evolved, right? And, uh, you look at a lot of consulting and engineering firms that are still relying on what is it, Microsoft Word, Excel, QuickBooks, sort of these horizontal solutions that just weren't built for them. I get a lot of questions about AI, and I say, hey, before we talk about that, let's talk about how you're just running your business on a day-to-day basis. And my sort of opinion on it is over the past 10 to 20 years, we've seen a lot of industries modernize and a lot of industries that have been a little slower to that point. And I would say that I hope none of the audience takes offense to this because we have plenty of connections in the engineering and consulting space who agree with us. This is one of those industries that it's a little slower to adapt.
Yeah. And with that AI, how do you think your solution, this like one in all solution, incorporates that AI and is able to help companies modernize that workflow?
Yeah, absolutely. So I guess just taking a step back of, what we're trying to do here at Aldoa is sort of build a verticalized, purpose-built solution for consultants and engineers. So step one for us is, okay, everyone has been using these solutions built for, architects, IT consultants, lawyers, whatever it may be. There hasn't really been a platform purpose-built for your industry yet. And that's where we're coming in. I've spent my past few years before starting this company in the real estate world talking to consultants and engineers and just learning about the tools they're using. And it's become very clear to me that there are so many nuances of the job, right? That a solution built for 10 different industries has no ability to really allow these consultants and engineers to do what they're being paid to do and allow them to do it effectively. So step one for us is just, hey, can we build a verticalized solution that can really solve the specific pain points for consultants and engineers really, really well? And we've been looking at that from the lens of, like I mentioned before, other industries that have been, a little bit faster to modernize, right? We look at even construction, which some of the listeners might be familiar with, of companies like Procore. Before Procore was on the scene, there was a lot of sort of pen and paper in the site. And Procore was one of the first companies to bring tablets and make sort of construction a tablet first industry. And that has been revolutionary. It's one of these really small changes that really changed the entire construction world. We can look at the same thing from a consumer perspective. Let's look at, restaurants, right? You have companies like Toast. A lot of people listening may not like it, but they were the ones who allowed, the waiter to come over with that sort of mobile device and say, hey, do you want to leave a tip? And, collect payment directly at the table. And that sort of revolutionized the way these businesses do their work and can be efficient. We have not seen that yet in the engineering and consulting space. So, that's what we're really focused on performing. And, when it comes to AI, right, which was the original question you had, some of the tools that we're building, right, we started with sort of project management tools, financial tracking tools. So tools to track your budgets in real time by task and subtask and, split up labor versus subcontractor estimates and give project managers in that front office a real ability to be able to know what's going on with the financial health of their project before accounting comes to them at the end of the month and says, hey, what the heck is going on here? But from an AI perspective, there are so many ways to layer this in. one of the ones that we're working on right now is on report writing, right? So uh, whether it's on the engineering side, the environmental side, remediation, you are developing a lot of technical reports. And the customers that we're working with are primarily doing that in Word templates, right? You have a Word template or you have a report from a client from 3 years ago. You're deleting out that client's information, copy and pasting in new information. But right now, we're at a point where we can build these large language models that basically can digest and help you prepare these reports much more efficiently. Uh, and I know that for a lot of businesses, some of these reports aren't even profitable, right? You have in the environmental world, you have phase one environmental site assessments getting paid $2,000, using that sort of as a lead generation for more sophisticated work that comes down the funnel. If you can speed that up so that your employees aren't spending 10 hours writing a phase one and going through database review, but they can use AI models to help with that, that is an enormous cost savings
Yeah.
for the business, right?
Absolutely. I mean, I think when you let AI help you do things, then you're actually, like you said, you're modernizing the workforce, and that way you're incorporating that much more technology.
Yeah, and I mean, at the end of the day, consultants and engineers sell their time, right? It is an hourly industry. If we can save you time, and again, we're not trying to take away the
Mhm.
scientific thinking, and I think that that's something that resonates with a lot of engineers, scientists, geologists, whatever it may be. They say, "Hey, I have a degree in this. I don't want AI to sort of take away my sort of industry work." That is not what we are trying to do. We're trying for AI to help with formatting and putting in photos and suggesting text from a word bank and being more efficient on the actual writing side of things so that you can focus on the actual work that is involved, like actually building our nation's infrastructure and protecting the inhabitants of our nation. That is what you are sort of set out in this career to do. Let's stop spending our time, editing Word documents.
Seriously, yeah, it genuinely takes up so much time. But I want to go back to something you talked about, which is like having that vertical workflow instead of a horizontal workflow. What exactly is a vertical SaaS, and how do you think it's beneficial to engineering firms?
Yeah, absolutely. So, yeah, vertical SaaS is sort of the trend that's emerged over the past 10 years, let's call it, of software that is being purpose built for a specific industry. And I think if we look back, and I can give, I'll call
Hmm.
out QuickBooks, for example. QuickBooks, everyone knows it is this great accounting solution. And QuickBooks has an incredible market because they can sell to anyone, right? They can sell to gas stations, they can sell to brick and mortar stores, they can sell to some professional services companies like engineers and consultants. They are not sort of limited by a specific market, but there are certainly downsides of that. And I am well aware of the downsides that come with QuickBooks in the engineering and consulting space, where it's a little tricky to track real-time budgets, right? It's really tricky to break up your projects by task and subtask the way that you would present that to your client in a proposal and then bill your client accordingly. We have a lot of customers who are using QuickBooks, and let's say they prepare a proposal for a client. It's broken down into 3 tasks or phases. And when it's time to bill the client, they have a real difficulty presenting those invoices associated with those phases or tasks of work. So they spend even more administrative time fielding questions from their clients of, "Hey, what are you billing me for? Like, this looks nothing like the proposal." Uh, so you've seen this sort of, that's just one example of horizontal solutions. But again, when we talk about verticalized solutions, every different industry has nuances to it, right? And I think that you're starting to see innovation from companies that are saying, we don't need to be able to build solutions that address every business in the United States. There are 40,000 engineering and consulting firms in the US alone. Let's build tools that are custom built for them with real purpose that help them save them time and money. And again, that's when we can get into report writing tools that are very specific to property condition assessments and phase one environmental site assessments. We can get into tools for field data collection. so that engineers and consultants who are in the field can have very easy to use forms to collect sort of those everyday sampling events that they're doing in the field and then push that back to a database in the office. So again, this whole trend of vertical SaaS is just building tools very specifically for one industry, which provides a ton of value, right? It's not just from a, like the product is better perspective, but it's also from a cost perspective, right? If right now you're a business and you're using QuickBooks for financial tracking, you have, pen and paper in the field to collect whatever it is, data, observations. You're using sort of maybe a report writing software that's coming out, right? And a company can come along and say, hey, we've sort of compiled all of these different solutions into one platform with real cost savings for you. And guess what? It's also built for businesses exactly like yours. It's not built for architects and construction firms. It is built for engineers and consulting engineers. That is a really powerful value proposition.
So far for this year, what do you think Aldoa's main goals and missions have been, and how do you think they've been executing that?
Yeah, sure. So, I mean, so far this year, we've signed up over 100 customers in the US. And what they're really using us for, I would say, breaking it down into sort of three buckets. The first one is just your project management, right? So having a central cloud-based platform for all of your team to log in, see exactly what's going on in the project in real time, see exactly what deadlines are occurring, push notifications to different team members on the project so that they can actually understand in real time what's happening. I think that a lot of businesses, and even the more sophisticated businesses, are still relying on, let's say, Microsoft Word, Excel, and having these sort of scattered files that every project manager gets to pick, the way that they like their files spread out on their computer. But having sort of like just a centralized location and standard formatting for all of that project data is really, really important. On top of that, we've also been focusing a lot on resource management. And I mentioned earlier that, engineers and consultants are in the business of selling their time, right?
Mm-hmm.
Uh, Being able to effectively track your time, understand exactly which employees are sort of filled up for the week, who's working their 40 hours, who has capacity to bring on new work. That's really important, not just from a, cost perspective, but from a new business perspective. Some of our customers that we've talked to, they've been, sort of uncertain if they can take on new work because they think that their team is slammed. And then they go talk to a senior project manager who says, no, actually, I have some capacity to free up. So, sort of understanding exactly where your resources are and when you're able to take on new work is huge. And I would say the third piece that our customers are really trusting us for, which is, again, sort of on the line of vertical SaaS, is we've built some really powerful financial management tools specifically for consultants and engineers. And what I mean by that is everything from, let's say, starting with your proposal, right? Being able to create a budget directly in a cloud based application with labor rates and chargeable equipment tables already set up, broken down by phases and subphases, lump sum and T&M estimating, all in a cloud based platform so that when your budget goes live and gets accepted by the client, you can automatically start tracking your time and expenses against that budget, right? So it's no double entry. It's, hey, our budget's live. Let's put in timesheets, subcontractor invoices, estimates, expenses, etc., and see in real time how your budget is trending versus actual expenditures. So that's really a big piece. And of course, at the end of the month, having a central location to track all of that work in progress or all of that billable activity so you can get invoices out the door quickly. One of the big pains we hear from our customers is actually on cash conversion cycles. It's liquidity. It's, hey, my customers are not paying us for 45 days. I think it really helps getting those invoices out the door as soon as possible. And that's one of the benefits of having all of those expenses and all of that billable activity all in one place. So, yeah, I'd say those are the three places that we're spending most of our time right now, and it's clearly resonating with our customers.
Yeah, I'm sure that, that the way that provides that customer solution, people would really, really appreciate that vertical all-in-one sort of platform. But is there anything else you'd like to share before we start wrapping up?
No, I think that's a pretty good picture into the world of Aldoa and what we're planning on building.
And if someone needs some more information about Aldoa or would like to see what their customized plan could look like that's created for them, what should they do?
Yeah, please visit us on our website. So it's www.aldoa.com. That's ALDOA. Or shoot me an email at adam@aldoa.com. And I would love to sort of have a conversation around what we are building and how it could help your business.
And we'll link both of those things in our description below. Awesome. Thank you so much for being here, Adam. This was another episode of the Engineering Influence podcast by the American Council of Engineering Companies. We'll put Aldoa's description below. Please like and subscribe. Thank you so much for tuning in.